You're not being manipulated. You've thought this through. You've seen the evidence, and you've made up your own mind. That feeling, that certainty, is exactly what makes it work. In 2026, the World Economic Forum listed disinformation among the top short-term risks facing the world, not as a theoretical concern, but as an active, destabilizing force already shaping elections, economies, and public health decisions. What's changed isn't that people are suddenly more gullible. What's changed is the tool. AI doesn't persuade you the way a salesperson or a politician does. It doesn't argue, it doesn't debate, it doesn't need to. It shapes what you see, what you're exposed to, and how often, until your own brain does the rest of the work. By the time you form an opinion, the process that led you there has been running for weeks. So what's actually happening? And is there any way to see it from the inside? The mechanism isn't manipulation in the traditional sense. It doesn't require lies. It doesn't even require content that's intentionally false. It works through something psychologists call the mere exposure effect. The more often you're exposed to an idea, an image, or a framing, the more familiar it feels. And the more familiar something feels, the more true it tends to seem. Repetition doesn't just reinforce belief. At sufficient levels, it creates it. AI recommendation systems are extraordinarily good at identifying which content keeps you engaged. And engagement and comfort aren't the same thing. Outrage keeps people watching. Fear keeps people scrolling. Confirmation of what you already half believe keeps people clicking. None of this requires a manipulative agenda. It emerges from an optimization process that has no goal except your continued attention. And the side effect of that process is a worldview shaped not by what's true, but by what's most engaging to a system that doesn't know the difference. What makes this particularly hard to detect is that the content you're being served feels chosen. It feels like the result of your own searching, your own interests, your own conclusions. The algorithm has learned to give you the feeling of discovery while narrowing the space of what you discover. Deepfakes have crossed a critical threshold in 2026. Earlier versions had tells, slight blurring around the hairline, unnatural eye movement, audio that didn't quite sync. Those tells are largely gone. The tools that produce convincing synthetic video are now accessible to anyone with a smartphone and 20 minutes. During elections in 2024 and 2025, cloned voices and fabricated video became a feature of democratic politics, not an edge case. In Ireland's 2025 presidential election, a deep-fake video falsely showed the eventual winner withdrawing his candidacy, released just days before polling. In the Netherlands, roughly 400 AI-generated images were used to attack political candidates. What this creates isn't just a problem of false information, it creates a problem of epistemic vertigo, a state in which you can't comfortably trust video evidence the way you used to, but you haven't updated your instincts to reflect that. The brain's default assumption is still that video represents reality, because for almost all of human history, it did. That assumption is now broken, and most people are still operating as though it isn't. The psychological impact isn't that people believe deepfakes, it's that they stop being sure what to believe. And uncertainty at scale is just as destabilizing as false belief.
Here's the psychological mechanism that makes all of this work so effectively. The human brain is a pattern completion machine. It doesn't verify information from scratch every time it encounters it. It checks whether the new information fits the existing pattern, and if it does, it assimilates it with almost no friction. Psychologists call this schema confirmation. And it's the reason why the most effective manipulation doesn't try to change your mind. It finds the beliefs you already hold and feeds them. A deepfake is most effective not when it shows you something you'd never believe, but when it shows you something you already half suspected. An AI-curated feed is most effective not when it introduces radical new ideas, but when it creates an information environment in which your existing beliefs are reflected back at you so consistently that alternatives start to feel fringe. The goal isn't to convince you of something false. The goal is to make the true thing feel unfamiliar. Manipulation at this scale doesn't feel like being pushed. It feels like arriving somewhere on your own. So what actually works as protection? 3 things that hold up under the research. First, interrogate the emotional temperature before the content. When something, a video, a post, an image, makes you feel immediate outrage, fear, or vindication, that emotional spike is the signal to slow down, not speed up. High emotional temperature is the single most reliable indicator that you're being optimized for engagement, not informed. It doesn't mean the content is false. It means it's been selected or designed to produce that response. And that selection should make you curious about what it's leaving out. Second, track the source, not just the content. A single piece of content means almost nothing on its own. The question is where it came from, who amplified it, and whether the sources citing it have a track record you can verify. This sounds obvious, but the speed at which content moves through social platforms is specifically designed to make this step feel unnecessary. That friction is intentional. Third, actively seek out one piece of information per week that contradicts something you believe. Not to change your mind, but to keep the alternative alive in your information diet. The filter bubble doesn't close overnight. It closes 1 degree at a time, each time the algorithm serves you something slightly more confirming than what came before. The antidote isn't skepticism about everything. It's maintaining exposure to things that don't confirm what you already think. So, back to where we started. You're not being manipulated in the way you imagine manipulation works. Nobody is whispering in your ear. Nobody is running an obvious con. The process is quieter than that. It works through familiarity, through repetition, through an optimization system that has learned exactly which emotional frequencies keep your attention longest. And the reason it's so hard to see from the inside is that by the time it has worked, the opinion you hold feels like yours. Which, in a sense, it is. The question is, what built the environment in which you formed it? If this changed how you'll think about what you read and watch online, subscribe. Every week, Mind Decoded breaks down one more thing about human behavior that almost everyone gets wrong. And if you haven't seen our video about the 3-second rule that decides if someone trusts you, it's right here.